call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, October 22nd, 6:30 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the Catalina Foothills School District Governing Board. And on behalf of the Governing Board, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. Members of the public are attending both in person and remotely through YouTube Live. And in a few minutes, I'll read the full rules of order for Governing Board and for public comment at Governing Board meetings. If you wish to make a comment remotely, you should have signed up using the Google form that's available under the YouTube Live description. If you don't see the link to the Google form, you can refresh your YouTube Live string and it should pop up. If you're attending in person, this purple form, request to address the Governing Board, is available on the table in the back of the room. So with that, I am going to ask all of those present to stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. You can't hear us? Oh. Let's just pause here for just a moment until we see if we can get Gina's audio reinstated here.
I thought she was looking very
puzzled,
but I thought we heard her, and
we heard her, but I don't know that she's ever heard us.
No, I think she did.
Did she?
I think so.
Oh, maybe lost her.
Initially.
I wonder what happened.
I think she saw your hand gesture.
It's something on Gina's end. I can see the audio coming through Zoom.
Let me get my phone and text her.
Yeah.
Get my phone. Right here. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Probably better. Oh, do you need one?
No, I've got one.
So is he?
He's sending her a message.
You can write it on a piece of paper. 1 sec and hold it up so she can see it.
The old-fashioned way.
Working on it.
Well, he's messing.
Oh. Did she see me?
I don't think so.
Working on it. And I think, it's on Gina's end.
Yeah.
I think that you two people can hear, I'm told.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's good.
It's warm in here today. I know.
What's that?
It is warm in here today.
Is it?
It is warm.
Oh,
There,
there it
just went on.
I'm usually never
It is warm.
So,
Spoke too soon.
so it'll be time for now. It'll be time for me to get a jacket on.
Yeah, I didn't bother to bring a jacket. I
Well,
always
if
bring a
it's winter,
sweater
I
and
can
then I
borrow
don't
it
wear
then.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just give it another few minutes here. We don't want to start without her. Nobody there.
People online for.
We have people online, but not for public comment, no. Amy's doing some deep breathing.
Practicing. In my namaste pose, and I'm practicing deep breathing.
Yay!
All right.
You can hear us.
You can hear us?
Yay.
Oh, great.
We've all said hello to you, Eugenia.
Yes.
You didn't hear us.
We're all wondering where you are.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read rules for public comment, rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. The governing board welcomes public comments at its meetings and by providing 2 opportunities for the public to address the board. If your topic of interest is not on the agenda, you may address the board during public comments time slot near the beginning of the meeting. Or if the topic is on the agenda, you may speak just prior to the discussion of that agenda topic. In the event there is a public hearing, the opportunity to speak will be reopened at that time. If you're joining remotely and wish to make public comment, you should have already submitted the Google form provided with the YouTube link. For those attending in person, again, please hand a completed purple form, request to address the governing board, to our board secretary, Amy Sams. The information requested on these forms is required for the meeting minutes. Speakers will be called on when it's their turn to address the board. For those attending remotely, you may choose to enable your camera. As a reminder to remote attendees who wish to speak, please unmute your microphone when called upon. Each speaker will have 2 to 3 minutes to address the board, depending on the number of people who attend board meetings. The sound of a buzzer indicates the end of your 2 minutes or 3 minutes. In the event of a large number of speakers, the board may need to limit that time so they can conduct the business on the agenda. By law, the board cannot discuss, consider, or vote on topics that are not on the agenda. This assures the community they're aware of the topics that will be discussed this evening. If you wish to discuss a topic through written communication, board members' contact information can be found on the district's website. We appreciate the community's attendance and comments at this meeting, and thank you for coming. And I'm going to move from there into item 1.4, which are our outstanding achievements, and I'm turning it over to our superintendent, Dr. Denise Bartlett.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to highlight the following CFSD students and staff achievements. On Saturday, September 28th, we had about approximately 100 students from Catalina Foothills High School, Esperero Middle School, and Orange Grove Middle School perform the national anthem at the Diamondback game to an audience of 41,192 fans. So it was made possible by the directors, Jeffrey Evans at the high school, Julia Higgins at Esperero Canyon Middle School, and Rachel Antista at Orange Grove Middle School. So we're very proud of that. They had an incredible time up at the game. They stayed then for the game, so they got to watch the game afterwards. Another achievement is the Catalina Foothills High School has earned a place on the College Board's Advanced Placement School Honor Roll for the 23-24 school year. It recognizes schools that have done outstanding work to welcome more students into AP courses and support them on the path to college and career success. So the students, you know, we know it takes a considerable effort, school-wide effort, dedication from teachers, counselors, administrators, students, and parents to make AP access a priority. So please join us in celebrating that accomplishment of our AP students and our program. And finally, our CFHS Falcon Marching Band delivered an outstanding performance at the 2024 Arizona Regional Championship held at the J. Lawrence Walk-Up Syndrome Sky Dome in Flagstaff, Arizona on October 5th, 2024. Our talented musicians earned second place overall in the highly competitive finals with an impressive score of 79.450. In addition, they received 2 prestigious awards in the Class AAA category, Outstanding Music Performance and Outstanding General Effect. So the accomplishments reflect the students and the band director's extremely hard work. Congratulations to Ms. Shane Boyd, Mr. Ian Marcusio, and Dr. Tina Walton, our dedicated staff members. So, wonderful achievements.
Wonderful. You know, how many kids, did you say how many kids have participated in the Flagstaff event?
At the Flagstaff event, it doesn't say, I'm not sure how many
It's
kids.
generally almost the entire band.
Almost,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is hundreds
260.
of kids. Hundreds of kids.
And of course, all of the things happen with support from parents and other adults
Of course.
who support kids and help them to get there and get their correct clothing or uniforms or, you know, whatever it is that they need. And
Yeah.
That's gotta be huge.
Yes.
It is. I had the opportunity to see some photos of the event from a very proud band parent, and you know, aerial photos where you can see the formations that they're making on the field, which are so fun, very fun. Well, Dr. Bartlett, thank you for that report of our outstanding achievements. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Our next section is item 2, public comments. I have no purple sheets turned in for public comment in person, and it looks like I've had no one who signed up online, so we do not have any public comment for this evening, so we will go ahead and move right along to item 3, which is our consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they wish to pull for further discussion on the consent agenda? Or any comments that they would like to make regarding our consent agenda?
I do have a few comments on this one. Yeah, I don't want to prolong this meeting in any way, but there are just some things that I like to highlight because I feel, because we all know that these items are like, a lot of them are standing items on the consent agenda, and so they become kind of ministerial in our practice, but really they're really important to the daily functioning of our school district. And there are some things on this consent agenda that I thought were worth highlighting. One is the field trip memorandum is full of high school field trips that demonstrate how our courses and programs are augmented, how field trips work to augment the in-classroom learning. And on this week's field trip memo, for example, there's the HOSA attending a conference I think in Phoenix to explore careers in medical field. Also, our brand new ECE program is going up to the Teachers College at ASU to learn about reading and math support. It's amazing. Our high school choir and orchestra and steel drums are traveling to various places to participate in performances with other high schools, and our astronomy students are going to engage in the recovery mission of their Falcon 7 space probe. And I assume that's similar. Do you remember
Yeah,
a couple of years ago?
we've had at least one presentation at the board of that.
Where they launched
Very
this
cool.
into space. And then, of course, there's robotics tournaments as well. So
Yes.
I thought those were just worthy of mentioning. On our gifts and donations memorandum, we have over $8,500 coming in this period of time, and 5,000 of that is from our school district foundation, which is really critical to supporting things we do in this school district, and we greatly appreciate everyone's contribution to that. Also, and the balance of that is from mostly from our FFOs. They do help to support field trips and instruction. And again, without our families' contributions, those things wouldn't happen. And then finally, I want to note a couple of items that are on our school, that are being approved through the school facilities board. And I believe it was, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or a couple board meetings ago when we approved the replacement of the chiller at the high school that was like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So one of the items is connected with that, the replacement of that chiller, and that's $14,000. And then there's also another $175,000 from the school facility board to repair the sewer system at the high school. And a tremendous kudos goes to our facilities director and administrators who go after these funds that keep our schools maintained, and they free up capital so that we can use them for other things. And I think this is, really something that, deserves just some extra, an extra thank you to them, because it really helps us in a, budgetary environment where every single dollar needs to be spent in the most effective way. We just don't have a lot of room to, for things, for everything.
Our facilities team has really done a yeoman's job in this respect. I remember when they first started with this grant program, and
Yep.
I can't remember how many years ago it was, and the initial thought was, we're never going to get this grant. We're never going to get this grant. And our facilities people said, no, we're going to try. We're going to try and do it. And they have been so successful. And I don't know if we have any kind of a handle on, since the beginning of our applying for these grants, how much money our facilities department has brought in to support our capital expenditures in this district. But I would venture to say it's very, very significant money, probably over $500,000, if not higher,
Oh, I'm sure it's.
which is,
More, because
Yeah,
just
you
the
think it's
one,
more?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Just the high school
curious.
chillers have been
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of
it's been
dollars.
way more.
I can find that out.
Yeah, that would be
Just
interesting.
an interesting number to have over the years, which is money that is not awarded to us by the state unless we go through the application process, which is not simple. So they have really done a great job. I second your comments, Amy. Anything else on the consent
Well, I would
agenda?
just, piggyback a little bit on that. We look at our buildings, we have kept such good care of them through bonds that our community has passed, as well as the school facilities money that we have been able to get. It doesn't seem like we ought to be replacing plumbing already at the high school, but the high school is.
The high school's
30 years old.
at least
25,
30 years old, yes.
and lots of use, I'm sure, with, so it's kind of incredible. We drive by and we think, gee, we shouldn't have to do this, but we're taking care of things and we continue to take care of things, but it's time to be looking at all these things.
Absolutely.
Plumbing at the high school is important. There's a lot of kids there.
Yes.
Very important.
1900. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't want to, not have.
We don't want to pay attention,
plumbing.
we don't want to
Yeah.
forget to take care of the plumbing at the high
Exactly.
school.
No, there's some of those things, you don't see until it's too
Exactly,
late.
until there's a problem.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Gina, did you have anything on the consent agenda? Okay,
May I make a motion?
please.
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 3.1, the governing board October 1st, 2024 regular meeting minutes as presented. 3.2, the governing board October 1st, 2024 executive meeting minutes as presented. 3.3, the governing board October 4th, 2024 special meeting minutes as presented. We met a lot in the
We
week
have.
of October. 3.4, the expense voucher memorandum as presented. 3.5, the field trip request memorandum as presented. 3.6, the fundraising request memorandum as presented. 3.7, the personnel memorandum as presented. 3.8, the acceptance with gratitude of the gifts and donations memorandum as presented. 3.9, the approval of the renewal of the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona as presented. 3.10, the approval of the construction, administration, and commissioning services for the School Facilities Division Chiller 3 replacement project at Catalina Foothills High School in the amount of $14,565 as presented. And 3.11, the approval of the School Facilities Division award to Midstate Mechanical and Kelly Wright and Associates for Building B sewer system repairs at Catalina Foothills High School in the amount of $175,518 as presented. Doesn't say that. I'm gonna add that.
Thanks for being on your toes, Amy.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Is there a second on this consent agenda?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
She said aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, everyone. All right, we will move on to our unfinished business. This is item 4.1, which is the approval of the award of the Crisis Alert System to Centegix. This is an action item for this evening. Dr. Bartlett.
Thank you. So presented for your approval is the award of the Crisis Alert System for Centegix. As we discussed at our initial meeting regarding this, the Centegix Crisis Alert Badging System is a comprehensive safety solution designed for schools and other institutions to respond rapidly to emergencies. It utilizes a wearable badge that staff members can activate in various crisis situations, such as medical emergencies, active shooting, or just facility lockdowns. The features of this system is that you can send instant alerts. So by pressing the badge 3 times, then you send a message that you need help. So that could be for a medical emergency, but if you press it more than 3 times, it could indicate a serious situation on campus and can trigger a lockdown and notify 911. It has location tracking, so when the staff member presses the button on the badge, it will give a room location and a staff member who is asking for help. It integrates with our other school systems. So our PA system, it will integrate with our PA system and our fire system as well. And then it has scalability and ease of use. So the system is easily implemented. It's very minimal training for the staff members, but there is training. But the badges are wearable and they're non-intrusive, and it empowers every employee to be in charge and mindful of the safety and security on campus. So we are very interested in, we're giving the power to all of our employees to work together to keep our students and themselves and our campus safe. We did, since our first meeting, we discussed the purchase of Centegix, but we also negotiated with Centegic to have a 5-year equal payment plan for the first year, paying for the installation and setup along with the annual subscription fee. And then the remaining balance is going to be spread out over the other 4 years of the contract. That was not the original contract that was presented to us. We negotiated that since our last meeting. We also had a meeting with the Centegix Chief Financial Officer to review the financial stability of Centegix. And we had specific contract language reviewed and approved by the legal team at the Trust Risk and Retention to approve the legal contract. So we've really covered all of our bases. We also confirmed that any software update would be included in the 5-year contract. So we would not have to pay for upgrades in that 5-year period. So Centegix has submitted a 1 GPA proposal for contract services, equipment, and materials in the amount of $484,000 for the 5-year period, and for tax in the amount of $35,670 for a total of $519,670 for a 5-year period. Of that amount, $156,000 will be paid in year 1, and then $82,000 for the next 4 consecutive years. And the 5-year contract did include a 2% discount for us. So this work will begin in November, so we'll place our order, and once that starts coming in, we'll start installing those on all of the campuses, and it usually takes about 3 months for full implementation. So this project is going to be funded through bond funds as well as district additional assistance. Any questions?
When you say every employee, you mean absolutely every employee will be wearing a Centegix badge that will allow them to communicate a distress signal or an I need help signal from anywhere on any one of our campuses.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Including at the bus barn. So the bus barn will
Including
also
at the bus barn.
have their own. So every campus has their own unique system. So
So if I'm assigned to 2 different schools,
you will have 2 badges.
I have 2 badges, okay. Yeah, when you said
Oh,
that,
I hadn't thought
specific
about that.
system, I thought, wait a minute. Because,
You will have 2
the
badges.
music teachers and, I
Right.
don't know,
We have
psychologists.
itinerant teachers who do
So-
travel to multiple campuses. And they will
Counselors
have,
sometimes do.
they will have badges for each site because it is site specific.
Got it.
Okay, interesting.
And I think from the first presentation, this is also contemplating the installation of like warning lights that are going to be on campus
Yes.
for when something like this when the higher alert goes off.
Yes, when it is an emergency alert.
Which is going to notify everyone on campus that we're now going into a lockdown.
We'll have
kind of
a colored
situation.
strobe light as well as a sound, and then it'll initiate a 911 call as well.
And the badge, it was my understanding, is my understanding correct that the badge is, I don't know if it's GPS or what the technology is, but wherever the wearer is, that location will also be transmitted?
Yes, so the location and the exact person who has called for assistance will come up on the screen for the supervisor. Yeah.
So if I'm not in my classroom, if I happen to be in the cafeteria, they'll know.
Correct.
Still know it's you and where
even
you are.
though-
Yes, it uses low-ray Bluetooth. So I'm not sure what that is, but that's
You
what they
guys
use.
Sounds
probably
like a
know.
good thing. Sounds like
That's
a
what
good
they
thing.
use. But yes,
Wonderful.
it does have that exact tracking of where that it's coming from.
So they know I need help regardless of where I am.
Exactly.
And your feedback from administrators has been,
They're impatient, they're waiting for it.
okay.
Why haven't we done this?
Yes,
Why-
they're waiting for it. They're excited about the possibility of the everyday use, not just for
Right.
a catastrophic event or a real emergency. They're really interested in that everyday use of being able to get to the people that need help when they need it on the playground, calling the nurse for something that happens in a classroom. Most of the use will be daily,
Right.
but then it's also available in the case of a serious emergency.
And do you contemplate, I know we had talked about how right now we use walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
Will those hang around? Because
Some
those at
will.
least you can talk to each other
Yeah,
on.
some
This
will.
is not communicative in that respect, but, so they'll still be able to use that, but this will be more reliable in terms of,
yes,
you know, a little bit more dire of a circumstance.
correct.
Got it. Great. Well, I just want to commend you on, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Gina. I keep looking at the wrong place.
Yes, that will occur. There is currently a form that they sign now when they're given a badge, and so we will implement this into that as well.
Well, you know, from hearing about this originally, which I think some of us read about it and heard about it, I think it was Georgia, right?
Yep.
Yes, this is
Georgia,
the
yeah.
system that Alapache High School had.
I mean, you have, I think, moved very quickly on this, and thank you. I see this as, you know, as you said, day to day. I also see this as being preventative. I think that if I had thoughts about doing ill in a district and knew that there was something this instant, I think I might choose someplace or not choose at all, hopefully. But it seems like this is a good thing. And certainly, you know, we know, because we've been talking to our SROs, of course, the last couple of weeks, or talking to them, hearing them at our meetings and so forth, and we can just get to them that much faster.
Yes.
I mean, it's just really, I think, I think we're all going to feel a lot more comfortable knowing that we have that protection for our kids and for our staff. You know, it's certainly our kids are always first thing out of our mouths, but for our staff too.
Absolutely.
It will be the first district in Tucson to implement this system. There are other districts looking at it, but they're still a few weeks or months off from approving this, and some of them need to approve bond dollars before they can implement it. But we will be the first district, and the SROs that we've talked to, and Sergeant Farmer has really been anxious for us to make this announcement and get this approved as well, because they're very excited that we're going to implement this as well.
So grateful that we have managed our resources so that we
Yes.
have these resources to be able to do this, because this is not a planned expense,
No.
but certainly.
To follow up on the resource, I just confirming my understanding. So we're approving the full expenditure today,
Correct.
presumably. That's what we're being asked to. So there's no, I assume then there's no like escalation clause in the contract where
No.
subsequent years are going to go up in
No.
price because it's all,
Correct.
okay, it's all allocated. And, and then when we see a new budget, I guess there's gonna be a line item for this
There
now?
will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Tomorrow, if you approve tonight, we will send out a message to all parents and all staff introducing the system and letting them know that this will be coming.
Great.
Good.
I think a lot of parents will be happy to hear
I think so too.
this. Well, to that end, if there is no further discussion or questions, anybody? I am.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the award of the Crisis Alert System to Centegic. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Great. Thank you so much for diving right into this and all of the work that you did to bring it to us.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate it, and I know that our families and students are going to appreciate it, and staff as well. Okay, we're going to move right along here into item number 5, which is our new business. This is the approval of the 2025-2026 school year calendar. This is an action item this evening. And normally we have 2 readings, and I just want to remind everybody, and maybe folks in the room who don't understand how this works, this particular calendar was preliminarily approved a year ago, and then we are now going to give it a final approval. And the second calendar that we're going to see on here will be preliminary approval for a calendar that's 2 years out, which allows our families the opportunity, because they're published, even as they're just preliminarily approved, allows our families to plan more than 1 year ahead, vacations, et cetera. They know what the school district year is likely going to look like. So that's why we're approving item 5.1, assuming we do tonight, without a second reading, because that took place about a year ago. So we're going to turn that over to Mindy Westover.
All right, thank you. Like President Jackson said, we did last year in January of 2024 preliminarily approve the 25-26 school calendar. Our administrative team has since reviewed it additionally about a month ago. They did not have any further updates to this particular calendar. We believe that this calendar represents the best balance of calendar preferences and alternatives. And we had a few items we wanted to draw your attention to this evening. The first is that new teachers will report to work on Wednesday, July 23rd, with returning teachers on Tuesday, July 29th. The first day of school would be Monday, August 4th. So elementary.
So early.
Well, we will address that in the 27th.
It's getting
but-
there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Elementary early releases, middle school late starts will be observed during the first week of school. The high school will begin at 8:35 a.m. and observe a regular day rotating schedule. The last day is Wednesday, May 20th, and it is a half day for students and a full day for staff. We have a full week for fall break, which would be October 6th to the 10th of 2025. K-12 parent-teacher conferences will be held midweek, October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Monday and Friday of that week will be full school days and for all schools. Pre-K parent-teacher conferences will be held September 22nd through October 3rd and April 20th through May 1st by appointment only. Veterans Day will fall during the week, so Tuesday the 11th will be a student holiday. We'll have short week schedule will only be observed at the high school during the week of Thanksgiving and the week of first semester exams. Winter break includes 3 weekends this calendar year, and the semesters are evenly divided 90 and 90 days. And the last contract day for teachers is Thursday, May 21st, and it is a full day for staff. And with that, I would take any questions that you have about the 2025-26 school year calendar.
Pretty much mirrors this year.
It does. Very similar.
Yes, it's really early to start school, but I
The way
know
the
we
calendar
want to be out,
falls.
we want to be out by Memorial Day
Memorial
weekend,
Day. Mhm.
however that falls, and it
Yes.
falls very strangely, so, sometimes.
And the winter break, we have to,
Winter break,
we have to,
That,
3 weekends.
Balance with
Yes,
that.
Three
Okay.
weekends is
3
really
weekends is
helpful.
really important, that's what
and
I
then it's not, you're not going too early or too late.
right.
So, as families, on both ends, right?
right,
Winter break is perfect.
Mhm.
That doesn't always happen.
No,
It's early for teachers.
it is.
I mean, August 4th, but
But in May, they appreciate
Right.
good calendar, I think.
Now, I know we went to the full week of fall break and doing the parent-teacher conferences banked by full days on Monday and Friday. And we did this for a lot of specific reasons, but are we finding that we're having less absenteeism during that parent-teacher conference week because of the new design?
Oh, I don't think that we've actually really tracked that. We could pull that data. In fact, I just had a question from a teacher this week about, the history of why we did that.
Yes,
Because we used to have just a 2-day fall break.
right?
And conferences were the 3 days before. And so parents might have a conference on Monday and then take Tuesday and Wednesday off to extend their break. So we
Right.
decided, when we went to that full week of conference, of fall break, that our conferences would be the week after, and we'd put a midweek so that there was really no extending of that weekend
Right.
on either way.
And the other reason we went to a full fall break is that other school districts,
Of
most of the
course.
other school districts in town do that as
Yes,
well.
of course. We were
our
the last
teachers were
one.
really
Yeah,
wanting
Yes.
that.
The
right,
teachers
and they
really-
wanted it. They
Yes.
wanted it.
We're really wanting that full week.
But when we did that, we had to change our conferences too.
Right,
Right.
exactly. So yeah, I'd be curious as to whether those Monday and Fridays, I don't want anyone to do a whole bunch of research if it's an easy thing to do. But, if we have kind of gotten rid of that tendency to extend the fall break even farther when they're already getting a week. It's just, I'm just curious.
Yeah, we can certainly take a look, and this week we are on conferences, so we can take a look at this
Oh,
week
yeah,
compared to
yeah.
previous weeks.
Okay.
And then there's always, of course, changing the subject from the
Okay.
fall break to Thanksgiving, was it just the 2 days? And
Yeah.
I'm sure that's,
Well, when we talked with the administrators, no one wanted to give up the Wednesday before Thanksgiving
No,
as
I
a
know.
day.
No,
No.
for sure.
Because if we wanted to change anything on the calendar, we had to say, well, where are the days gonna come? And no one wanted to give up that day before Thanksgiving, so.
but I imagine we still have a little more absenteeism on that Monday and Tuesday with
Maybe.
short week, do we?
Potentially.
Probably at least at the younger grades.
And
probably.
families that are traveling for Thanksgiving, yes, probably.
Again, we can take a look at some of those trends.
Well, I mean, then you gotta find those 2 days someplace else.
Right.
Yeah, we're not
Right.
gonna, I don't see us
I-
changing that.
I totally,
It's just curiosity more than anything else.
And it's too long to wait for that as your fall break.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's too long.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There are some districts that do that in Phoenix.
Pardon me?
Really
There are some districts that do that in Phoenix, yeah,
interesting.
No, they go straight through till Thanksgiving.
till Thanksgiving, then they have that week.
Okay.
Actually, I think I've got a grandchild in Los Angeles that does that. No. It is a long, and it's a long
It is,
haul.
it's a very long time, yeah.
Other questions on this calendar for 2025, 2026?
May I make a motion?
Please.
I move the governing board approve the 2025-2026 school year calendar as presented.
Motion, is there a second? We have a motion and a second to approve the 2025, 2026 school year calendar as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, we'll move on to item 5.2, which will also be Mindy Westover, the initial review of the 2026-2027 school year calendar, first reading.
So this is the first reading for the 2026-2027 calendar. It has been patterned after the 2025-2026 calendar. While we believe this calendar represents the best balance of calendar preferences and alternatives, we want you to be aware of the following. The new teachers will report to work on Wednesday, July 29th, a little bit later. Returning teachers on Tuesday, August 4th. So we've been able to push back into that first week of August for our returning teachers. The first day of school would be Monday, August 10th. Elementary early release and middle school late starts will be observed during the first week of school. The high school will begin at 8:35 a.m. and observe a regular day rotating schedule. The last day is Wednesday, May 26th, and it is a half day for students and a full day for staff. Full week of fall break would be October 12th through the 16th, 2026. K-12 parent-teacher conferences will be held midweek, October 27th, 28th, and 29th. Monday and Friday of that week will be full school days for all schools. Pre-K parent-teacher conferences will be held September 28th through October 9th and April 19th through the 30th by appointment only. Veterans Day falls during the week, so Wednesday the 11th will be a student holiday. Short week schedule will only be observed at the high school during the week of Thanksgiving and the week of first semester exams. Winter break includes 3 weekends again. The semesters are not evenly divided in this calendar, however. 85 in the first semester and 95 in the second. And I would add that that does allow for, we have a lot of state testing that comes in second semester. So with those days that may be more test geared, it does help with that. And then the last contract day for teachers is Thursday, May 27th, and this is a full day for staff. With that, I would welcome any questions.
August 10th is a little more palatable
Yes.
for parents to get school started.
For
Yes.
sure.
It's
And
just that cycle.
I know.
Now we're at the end of that
Now we're-
cycle where
yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
into August again.
Back.
And it, so fall break is a week later as well, so everything's just kind of
Back.
pushed back a little. Because fall break felt pretty early this year. I think people were, it was normally,
Well, it might have felt that way because it was still 100 degrees.
that's true.
It's possible. Fall
That's true.
break.
That is true.
Always think about the unevenness of the 85, 95 in terms of, but there aren't many one semester classes that we have. I know, like the
Right.
human growth and development at the high school, is that,
There are
well,
a
no,
few-
we've got some,
There are a few more.
There's a few.
Yeah, sure.
right.
There are a few.
But there's enough minutes in those 85 days that we have
Yes.
no problem with credit, with the state, that sort of thing,
Right.
obviously.
Correct.
We don't have problems with credits?
No.
No,
I mean, it
With
was-
the minutes of
The minutes
the
take
class.
care
It's a
and
year,
the
it's a
85.
yearly.
It is what it is, and,
Right.
and, teachers are certainly, they're the ones that have to control how it's presented in a shorter period of time.
Well, because, think about if you moved everything back. So if you
Oh,
wanted to go 90-90 again, if you
No.
moved everything back, then
Yeah.
winter break would
Yeah.
be pretty early. Fall
No,
break
I-
would be pretty early, so
No, I-
the high school was okay with that 85-95.
And it's only 5 days, again, with testing in the spring.
Right.
It really, they do
That's good.
lose days to all of the state testing that they do, so it kind of pads that second semester and evens out a little more.
Right.
And
You
yeah,
sound like you're making a case for always 85, 95. I mean,
You could, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, and that's the thing, and I know we made cases both ways, and you know what, we do such a great job.
Yes.
It's all fine, but I think we need to, you know, just say it and
Sure.
have the community be aware of it.
Yes.
Well, it's really about state testing. So if you remember, we used to have our spring break usually the first week or the first week in April, but that hinders our elementary students because the writing test is the state sets the dates for the writing test, and we had to move it back so that our elementary students weren't disadvantaged and had to start the testing right when they came back from spring break. Yeah, we haven't really looked at the alignment between the districts. I do know that the SROs will tell you that they like having it in different times so that not all the kids are released at the same time. So I will tell you that, I know that for sure. But you know, we really try to align ours with that state testing window so that we're not disadvantaging our students.
You would think the other school districts would be doing the same thing as well.
I think, but some of
I'm
them have it
assuming that-
earlier.
So
Yeah, some of them have it
DST's
earlier.
testing is earlier
No,
also?
their spring break is
Oh, they
earlier.
go even earlier than
Yes.
this. I gotcha.
And some of them have April holidays.
And we discussed that because if we went earlier on, so again, if we moved everything up, then you're looking at the end of March and all of April without a single day of break for students or staff. And they really were not interested in doing that.
Well, and May, yeah, and May. Yeah,
so I just looked at,
Yeah, it's a long haul for until the end of the year.
but you know what though? I just looked at the 25-26 calendar that we just approved and this one. And spring break is the 12th week back.
In.
12th weekend from the semester. So it's that, those two are the same. I don't know if it was the same this year, but there's some consistency.
Yes, there
It
is
is a long,
consistency.
it is long.
It is a long after spring break.
But they have rodeo too in February.
Yeah.
A couple days.
Yeah, that's always a nice little,
Yeah.
Little break.
But it's that last month, you know. To end
The
the
April
school
and
year.
May
The
is
April,
gonna
May.
be a push, yeah. But again, there's a lot of testing in April.
Yes.
So actually, you're saying there's 5 days of testing?
There's,
It can be more than 5.
yeah,
I mean, so actually, if it's a 95, if we do 90-90 and it's 95 and there's 5 days of testing, then you're not taking kids away from their
yes,
classes, which
Right.
is really nice.
yes.
Yeah. Maybe we should do that more often. Just saying.
Well, we'll see.
well, I mean, the days they have tests, I mean, they do other classwork and stuff those days. I
Sure.
mean,
Sure.
it's not just, you know.
Right.
Yes, it's just traditional, your traditional
It's-
schedule is upset a
It's
bit.
it's an upset, and yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Anything else on this preliminary calendar for 26, 27? Wow, it's hard. The numbers are getting big.
And again, and
And
again,
you'll see it again.
it
Yes,
is
of
just a
course.
first read. We'll bring
Right.
it back next time.
2 weeks, and again, that'll be a preliminary approval. It'll get published for families to be able to hopefully plan around. And then when it comes around in a year again, we're usually pretty loath to change anything from the preliminary calendar because we do recognize parents do plan unless there's some compelling reason for us to make that change. But this is kind of the practice so that we can give parents the ability to look out more than 1 year, so,
Yes.
okay? All right, well, we'll see this again in a couple of weeks. Thank you. We're gonna move on on to item 6, discussion and reports. 6.1 is the annual bond and capital override report. We're going to turn this back to Dr. Bartlett.
Yes, so we are required to hold a public meeting as such each year between September 1st and October 31st to update the governing board and the community about the progress of capital improvements financed through bonds and or overrides. So in 2022, the CFSD voters authorized $38.5 million in school improvement bonds for capital improvements across the school district. And in April 2023, the first issuance was sold for $14,956,400. So you can see, because it was in April, we didn't have much time till the end of the fiscal year. So you can see the actual expenditures in fiscal year 23 in that first issuance. We only spent $1,260,632 of that first issuance between April and June 30th. So then as of July 1 of 2023, for fiscal year 24, we spent $13,695,768. So our actual expenditures in fiscal year 24 was $9,998,443.39. So our balance from that first issuance only is $3,697,324. So you can see the expenditures with the asterisk there in 2023 was really for the design services for the high school and the strings edition, and then design services for all of the security upgrades at the schools. So that was really all design services. All of the actual security upgrade purchases occurred in fiscal year 24, starting on July 1.
Right.
We do have a list of bond projects that are completed at the end that we'll review, that you can look at. And it does include all of the security improvements, and it's just generally listed as security improvements so that we're not divulging specific. There were a couple of things that are underway but are not on this list because we have not expended any money on them, and that is to replace 6 84-passenger transit buses. There were expected delivery in December. And then we're replacing 1 63-passenger transit special education bus. And again, that's supposed to be in December. But all the other lists are the fencing, security improvements, the lobby upgrades at all of our sites. We did replace 2 Microbird 21-passenger special education buses. And we also replaced 9 77-passenger Vision buses and 2 white 14-passenger mini buses, along with all of the security upgrades to our campuses. So that list is at the end of this. So that is the bonds. Any questions about bond expenditures?
Just happy to have some of these buses switched out. I gotta tell you, that old bus trying to come up the hill by our house was
Yes.
having a lot of trouble before it got retired. It was, we needed.
Well, we have 7 more coming, hopefully in
need to-
December. It says
we needed to do
delivery
that.
November, December. That's why I'm saying December, because we know it's never the former.
Well, you can tell we have some new buses because there's actually a bus that drives up Camino Esquina, which is my street. And all the years that my kids went to Catalina Foothills, there was never a bus stop on Camino Esquina because it's a really big hill, and it was always a concern that our buses could not get up the hill. So now it's
Now
so
there's a
fun
minute.
to see a bus drive up Camino Esquina, because I know that's our bond dollars at work. We've got spanking new buses that can actually handle the hill. And I do want to just reiterate, when you look at all of these security improvements that are on page 7 and 8 of this memo, this is all stuff that we started doing in the middle of 2023 because we had the support of our tax-paying community. We were able to implement the security structures that other school districts who also were fortunate enough to finally start passing some of their bonds, TOSD in particular, who are just getting started on these kinds of projects. So our community has been there for us for 30 plus years. Every time we go to them, and ask them to tax themselves to support this school district, they have been there for us. And that is just so greatly appreciated, especially when you sit and look at a list like this. It's
And a
amazing
reminder,
to
we're
me.
going to be using bond funds for our Centegic, part of,
Yep.
part of these bond funds will be used for the Centegic system as well, because it is a security upgrade as well, so we're very fortunate.
Absolutely.
And with regard to buses, Dr. Barlow, so we own the buses, but we
Yes.
contract out bus maintenance and.
We actually
drivers
have two of
anymore.
our own
What we do.
mechanics, our bus mechanics. So we employ the mechanics.
Yes.
And they are our own buses, but we outsource the driving
Yes.
and the management of the bus routes and the drivers to First Student, is our bus company. And they've been fantastic.
They have been doing a great
Yeah.
job.
Fantastic. Our former bus company was
Not so much.
Not so fantastic.
not so fantastic.
Lots of public comments.
Yes, and not very reliable, delivery, bus schedules. So we're very pleased with our current, I actually rode the buses.
You did?
On the first 2 days of school, yes, I did. I rode the buses with the students just to get a feel, so it was a very fun experience, and I'm going to do it again next year. And I'm going to do it again in the fall. In the winter,
spring.
I'm going to ride with the special education routes. So I'm going to ride. It's very fun, and the kids just kind of wonder who I am.
Why you're there, adult sitting on the bus.
And then look at me and say, "Why are you riding the bus?"
Well, are you learning, are you gonna be our new bus driver? That's,
But I will tell you, one of our staff members, her son was a kindergarten student who needed to go from her school of Orange Grove to Manzanita, and he was a little nervous. And I said, "Don't worry about it. I will deliver him to his teacher." And so
Aw.
she was very thankful. So it was a nice experience. So I rode those buses, and so I know the new buses versus the old buses, and there's a difference in the ride, let me tell you.
How many are in our fleet? How many, I mean, you said we're replacing 6 plus,
Yes, I think we have.
are we getting to like a complete turnover?
Yes, we're getting to a complete turnover. But I don't know the exact number. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
I mean, 9 passengers, that's a lot of buses. There's
Yeah,
a lot
9
of
to
buses,
7.
9, 10, 11, 13 buses on this list.
yes. So then the override information that we're providing is, we're still providing you information on the 2015 override, even though that expired in 22-23, because we do have carryover money. Okay, so we have planned for carryover money in each of our overrides so that we can specifically, we usually have Apple leases, our computer leases, and then we have curriculum revision as well. So this will be the last year that we're going to provide the 2015 capital override information, because we have now moved that into our new capital, which was approved in November of 2022. Voters approved a $2 million capital outlay override for technology, equipment and software, teaching and learning resources, and infrastructure. And the $2 million were designated for 2023 and 2024 and each fiscal year thereafter until 2029, 2030. Gosh, that sounds so
I
far
know,
away.
doesn't it?
well, I don't know. After we're
approving
doing
that
these
calendar
calendars,
soon.
it doesn't sound so far away.
But again, we plan for carryover funds in order to continue technology support for teachers and students, as well as to fund instructional materials and resources. So we never really spend that $2 million every year. We always have a carryover into the next year. So you can see that for the 23-24 school year, we started with that $2 million. We had carryover from the 2015 override of $4,235,000. So we had $6,235,539 to start with, and we have encumbered so far $3,459,080. So right now we have a balance of about $2,776,000 for the 23-24. And then you can see in 24-25 we've got that $2 million, and then that carryover and what we have to spend. If you go to all the way to the back where it says for the 2022-23 expenditures for our override was on library subscriptions for schools. Actually, for the 22 override, the 23-24 school years, it was to fund 2 of the 4 lease payments for devices and charging cards to support classroom instruction across all 7 sites. Library subscriptions for schools. Allocations for each school for the purchase of library books and technology for libraries based on student enrollment. Web-based software programs, applications, and licenses to support curriculum, instruction, and assessment in the classroom. High school social studies textbooks and ebooks as part of the social studies adoption process. Microbic Edison robots for grades 6 through 8 computer science, Lego education, and then equipment, software, and supplies to support day-to-day management of technology and infrastructure. So server backups, device management. So one thing that we're going to be, expending some of this on is some new equipment for boosting the internet at some of our sites that use that. We're spending some of those dollars on infrastructure as well.
Some of our school sites that have particularly poor
Yeah, we have
connectivity, and like
We have
Manzanita,
2,
Manzanita
Manzanita and
Ventana.
Ventana Vista, the internet,
not
the cell reception is spotty, so we're going to do some boosting there.
The carryover also becomes important because these capital override dollars have a life of 7 years, and it's a cliff. So if for whatever reason we went back to the voters and it didn't pass, we would at least have a buffer year with some funding that would allow us to go back to the voters and try to get it back in place.
Correct.
So having that carryover is quite important for planning purposes, as well as that cliff that we fall off after 7 years. That's never happened, by the way. Every single time that
But
we
it
have
could.
asked our electorate to renew this capital override, they have been accommodating to the district, and which is why you see such beautiful facilities and up-to-date technology for our students and teachers to benefit from. And we have our electorate to thank for that.
So we will be most likely doing a second issuance in April
The
2025
bonds.
for the bonds. So we'll be bringing that for governing board approval.
Along with a list of how we would contemplate spending that for governing board discussion. Good. Other questions about the bond and override report? Gina, how you doing? You got any questions? Okay. Anything else?
Good.
Thanks for that report.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Item 6.2 is the Arizona Legislative Governmental Activity. Anybody got anything?
No?
No, not at this juncture.
Nope.
Any future agenda considerations? Gina, you and I are scheduled for agenda planning tomorrow. Does that still work for you? Anybody available for tomorrow?
Let me grab my personal calendar is on my phone, not on my
Probably
board
do it.
computer.
I think I can,
Let me
what,
see.
at 10 or something like that?
Is that,
It's scheduled for 10 o'clock right now.
Okay, I can-
It's okay. This happens.
Oh, I'm good tomorrow if,
Go ahead.
or Amy, are you?
That's fine.
Okay,
So we'll
all
At
right.
10?
stick Carol in there.
So it will be Eileen and Carol, 10 o'clock. Carol, are you in person?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just across the street from you, so I'll pop over. Okay. So we'll do it in person. And then, if no one has anything else or other future agenda considerations, I would take a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second?
We have a motion in 2 seconds to adjourn the meeting.
So enthusiastic on the motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion motion to adjourn carries 4-0. Good meeting, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Good night, Gina.
Night, Gina.